Hello, my name is Robert Robinson. I'm pastor of four churches, one in Poughkeepsie, New York, Hopewell Junction, New York, North Carolina, and Uganda. And what I really am getting ready to read is going to be something that, first of all, I thank God for who He is and how He is great in my life. Second of all, I want to speak to all people, but this is January 31st, 2013. Tomorrow is going to be Friday, February 1st. We know that many people will start talking about Black History Month. They'll talk about Jackie Robinson, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and some of the people that many folks have just come to go over and over and over again as they think that these few people are the epitome of black people in the world. The misnomer, misinformation, therefore people misbehave because they're misinformed, leads them blind and fully incomplete, even the American black. I am born in Richmond, Virginia, 1954, and I am an American. I am also a black American. Whether or not my family and heritage came from Africa, the continent, and from whichever country, I do not know. What I do know, and what I am proud to be, is a black American man. There are many famous and unknown, famous in the way of being strong men, strong women, and strong husbands, and strong wives, strong fathers, strong sons, daughters, and brothers. We forget the importance many times of the family. We forget our own importance and are misinformed and misled, therefore we misbehave with some idiocies. I'm going to read something that October 1st, 1927, the founder of Black History Month, which first started out as Negro History Week. Dr. Carter Woodson had some colleagues, and the word, when you fully look up the definition, is those that are a part of the same profession, realizing the study, the discipline, the vocation, the skill, the training necessary to accomplish and compile data that would enable you to have good reason and rational thinking and come to a good conclusion, and to share that information. These same colleagues, however, of Dr. Carter G. Woodson fail to see the value of black history. They understood, and will read in his letter, they understood everyone else's history and said black history has no value. So my point to my brothers and sisters who are striving to be better, who are striving to increase their education, not just on knowledge base, but on character development, maturity. My hat is off to you, the women, the men that persevere through all times. Our history shows we endured a lot. We are standing on shoulders of those who endured a great deal, and we are obligated to broaden our shoulders so that our future has a cement to stand on. So please give me a few more minutes. Let me read to you the encouraging words, the thought from October 1st, 1927 by Dr. Woodson. Here he himself had to bear this brunt. So he started the association of the study of the Negro life and history Incorporated. It was editorials. It was the Journal of the Negro History by, again, Carter G. Woodson. And it is in Washington, D.C., October 1st, 1927. It's based on a letter that had to be written to a Mr. Thomas Barnes in Orleans, New York. Dear Mr. Barnes, why, you're asking me, am I establishing a home study department? That need is there is, and for much effort, why not let the established schools do this work? That's what you're asking me? The answer is simple and clear. Recently, a Negro instructor in a college was asked to give a course in Negro history. He treated the request as a joke. He has been well instructed in the story of the Hebrews, the Greeks, and the Romans. He has made a special study of the achievements of the Europeans and Americans. He has been taught that these nations accomplished everything. From his point of view, therefore, there is no other history worth considering. That thought there by a colleague is scary. The letter goes on, my friends. It says, the fact is that the so-called history teaching in our schools and colleges is downright propaganda, an effort to praise one race and to decry the other, to justify social repression and exploitation. The world is still in darkness as to this actual progress of mankind. Each corner of the universe has tended to consider itself merely with the exploits of its own particular heroes. Students and teachers of our time, therefore, are the victims of this selfish propaganda. The association is trying to bring before the world truth, that the truth may make men free. To do this, it has decided not only to publish informing books, but to offer by mail instructions in Negro life and history. The Home Study Department has therefore been established for the special benefit of those who would like to study the aspects of African civilization which were neglected in the schools in which they were trained. And I want to say, having been in Africa, when I see us as black people today confused about who to identify ourselves as being. Before we were Negro, and then we were colored. Don't call me black, I'm a Negro. Now James Brown said in the 60s, say it loud, I am black and I am proud. I love Angela Davis' hairstyle. I had my own afro. The Black Panthers that were instrumental in the black community at daycare center and food banks. We were doing this long time ago when Hoover wanted to, through the FBI and other propaganda garbage, intimidate the black community, the black preachers, and bring the drugs in our community as never before. Because we don't go to South America and bring in drugs. We don't go to Asia and bring in drugs. They are brought here. Yes, we are responsible for bringing it into the community, because many of the same blacks that feel comfortable of selling it in our community, some of our brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, daddies, or mamas, and we know who the drug dealers are, they'll bring it here in the community, but they won't take it over there on Madison Avenue, Avenue of the Americas. They won't dare bring the dope down there. As long as I can poison my own folks, I'll make a lot of money, I'm comfortable. But bring it out to Long Island in your pimp mobile, you know better than to cross that street. So education has been the crux of what many people from all over the world that have come here seeking to improve their lifestyle, seeking to improve their family, seeking to improve their future. Yet we run through our schools and institution of learning because we don't have a foundation home. So we bring that disruptive spirit, that disruptive character into the classroom. It's sad. If you don't want to learn, I don't really want to throw you away and tell you to stay home, but at least pull your pants up and try. Because here from 1927, 21, we're reading that the same dumb thinking, the slave boy's thinking, because he can't think. I want to be dumb. I want to be a real good nigga. I don't have a value. And I'm angry that you think you're worth something. You think you better than me? Isn't that the jackass mentality? So them that know that education is valuable, know that vocational training is valuable, it enables you to have a skill. It enables you to have the ability to seek good income. Whether you're a mechanic or a painter, the service industry, whether you're in economics, architectural, engineering, design, you can have an income. You will be better than broke. You will have a means of taking care of yourself and a family. You can sustain yourself come Friday when the paycheck comes. You will be better. But we find so many would try to kill, you know that old slogan, the crab in the basket. And even them who claim they have education, and even some of us that I know, some in Dutchess County and Poughkeepsie, the politicians are bought. The black ones I know that are bought. I ran for office and had some of the non-black tell me they want to stop me because if I get in the office, I'm going to open up a can of worms. I had to bring a lawsuit against the city of Poughkeepsie. And I was offered a bribe that I would not take. It's nasty. But as proud as I am, my integrity would not let me, and I'm proud to say, take no bribe. Would continue to run my own campaign. And I'm not unique in this. I'm joining the ranks of men and women. And this brother here, I want to finish the last 2 paragraphs of a letter that had to be written, and I'm scrolling through it, and since October 1st, 1927. A letter by Dr. Carter G. Woodson that had to deal with the ignorance of another black man, a jackass I have to call him, that is trying to say, why are you starting a class of study on black people? Man, that's scary. Thank God for Ida B. Wells, Sir Gertrude Pushkin, Madam C.J. Walker, and many, many more that went forward. So let me give you this last two paragraphs again. The association, he says, is trying to bring before the world and the whole truth, that the truth will make you free. Some people don't want to be free. They want to be in bondage. Now, today, many of these same type of folks will say, hey, Black History Month, but know nothing of the man who is the founder for true Black history, and making it, going through all kinds of garbage, resented by his own peers for what we today, 2013, and for the last several years, been almost taking it for granted. But as I've said, been in Africa, and I'm sure white America, as the reporters first would say colored, then they would say Negro, then they would say black. Now even black folk talking about African American. Here's your dilemma, my fellow friends. I've had people that look as Caucasian can be, born in Africa, because you know that is many homes of the Asians and Chinese, the Japanese, and Caucasians from the Dutch, Australia, and all that have lived there. And so when they give birth, you're born in that country. You are a natural, by your naturalization. That country's is Africa, so you're an African. If you were born in America, you would be an American. So all of the whites that are born in Africa, they are African. Some would say Africana. Now when they come to America and get their naturalization papers, now they are an African American, but they're Caucasian. And let me give you some more history. So I have a black man who is black as black. He comes from Africa to America. He is now what? He's an African American. So who is African American? So how can the black that's born here as an American say, I'm African American? You know what's so funny? No matter what, you don't hear that Polish going through various changes. I'm a Polish or I'm Polish American. I'm German or I'm German American. I'm Irish or I'm Irish American. I've never heard any of the other ethnic groups. I'm Hebrew or I'm Jewish. I've never heard any of the other ethnic groups go through so many misidentification of themselves as black folk here in America. I am a proud black man. I am a BMW. I am more than just a man. And the problem when I keep looking at this is I got to read something from 1927, the same silly attitude, 2013, through so many. Not wanting to go to school, pants hanging off their tail. As I said, congratulations to them who are in the honor society, who them that just go to their vocational schools, BOCES schools, and just want to do something, get a education, get some kind of skill, and get a job and be able to get married or take care of a family. Congratulations and thank you. And yet, I'm looking at something on the news that the young 15-year-old black girl from Chicago, who sung with her classroom down at President Barack Obama's second inaugural, is murdered by some black punk running through the street there in the park, shooting and murders this young black woman, daughter, sister of some young brother or sister, some mother and father. You robbed her. Somebody put a gun in your hand and you thought you were a man, you're a punk. And yet we say Black History Month. It's sad. No one's going to come in our community and save us. And I don't want no one coming in my house to save me. I need to know how to stand up as a man and save myself. When I lack that ability, training, skill, discipline, or know-how, I'm in America, I am not blind, I walked outside the house, I need to get outside of my block, and I'm sure I see different. So even if I was not raised in a good home or an environment, if I got on a bus, if I took a train ride, if I took a car ride, I see better. The choice now becomes, do I want to be a buzzard or do I want to change? Because if I want to change, then I have to get outside and get away from my surroundings, because I know what it is and it leads nowhere. I don't have to remain a doo-doo head. I'm just keeping it real, people, because the pain that family has to suffer. Their 15-year-old daughter, I have my children that were those ages, now they're much older. No parent cares for that. And color has nothing to do with that. We've had the Newton massacre in Connecticut. No parent. My baby's in kindergarten and murdered. No parent had a dry eye when they heard that story. No brother, no son, no cousin, no uncle was left untouched. And education, you have to look at it. If I'm educated and if I'm working hard to get away from the ignorance and the violence and the degradation and the destruction, I want to equip myself. And I want you to know I'm valuable, and above all, I've got to have self-esteem and some value. I'm going to read the last paragraph. Again, the brother is reading here and saying that I have to make the adjustments on the light, and that's okay, so I can read and see what is here. And I appreciate your time and bearing with me. I really do. So here we go again. We're going to try to get it together. Okay. Brother Carter Woodson is saying here to this person that he had to educate. He said, these courses are conducted by correspondence. If you can't come to the school, I'll bring it to you through mail. These courses are conducted by correspondence. They cover every aspect of the history of the Negro race. Its economic progress, its social problems, the African arts, the African anthropology, and African philosophy. Some of the most distinguished scholars of this country have been secured as instructors. He had to fight to get some. Now remember what he's saying here. Some of the most distinguished scholars in this country have been secured as instructors. The curriculum herewith enclosed will give you particulars. The undersigned will be delighted to answer further inquiries and will enroll anyone desiring to become a student. Signed, respectfully yours, C.G. Woodson, Director. My brothers and my sisters, I thank you for your time. You know, when you tell me that you learn something new every day, 2 things, 3 things can happen. What's going to really say, as the Bible says, faith without works, it's dead. In the alcoholic and substance abuse, you know, the AA and the other things says that you can have the knowledge, but if you don't apply it, it don't mean anything. So if I've been able to give you some encouragement, I hope you are a little angry. I hope you are a little peeved off. Because you know what? Unless you get that way, You're going to settle for everything the way it is, and it's not beautiful. But until you get angry enough at yourself and want to stop what we have going on and make a decision that you yourself, whether, don't try to join a big group. Do it yourself. Start yourself. Start one on a one on a one on a one, because you have influence on at least one person. You can make an impact on at least one person's life. God bless you. Let heaven smile upon you. Amen.